My name is R. Crosby Lyles, and this is News from the Can. All right, so we got a bunch of little stuff going on here. There's been several people that have made videos about this already. I think the Angry Astronaut might have been one. That it was somebody that hadn't made a video in a while, and they just recently put one up, and it was really very interesting. So this is not going anywhere near the Earth, but it's important to realize the only reason that we see this is because they have new optics available. A new telescope just went in the southern hemisphere, and so they're able to see with this giant aperture, this giant gigapixel camera, they're able to see things that they weren't able to see before. So it's illuminating that there's more out there than we have maybe considered. Of course, this kind of shit, they've been making movies about this stuff since the 50s. So, and I mention movies and things like that because it's in the popular culture. It's in the popular zeitgeist, if you will, that there are all kinds of things possible. Okay, so let me just run this down real quick. So the arc of this thing, 3i Atlas, is kind of runs by Mars and stuff. But here's the point I want to get to. Everybody's already talked about it. You've probably already seen it before. Here's what's important about this. I did some back of the envelope calculations because this thing is really moving. You know, usually we're thinking about like interplanetary, meteoroids and things like that. They haul ass. They're anywhere from 30,000 miles an hour to 60,000 miles an hour. This dude here, hyperbolic excess velocity of 58 kilometers per second, which is like 132,000 miles an hour, something like that. It's booking. Okay, so back of the envelope calculations show that what you're looking at, 1/2 mv squared, is the kinetic energy of a moving object. I came up with 2.523 times 10 to the 24 joules. Then we go right over here to the megaton calculator, and you're looking at something on the order of 0.603 times 10 to the 9 megatons, or 6.03 times 10 to the 8 megatons. So it's almost 1 billion megatons. 1 billion 1 megaton nuclear weapons of destructive power. So that makes the Chicxulub impact look like a firecracker. You're talking about an impact that would, if it hit the moon, it would rip the moon literally to pieces and probably destroy the Earth. A glancing blow, something that glanced off the atmosphere, which is possible, would probably release billions of tons of energy as well. So there's that. Why talk about it? Well, there's a lot of shit in the works right now. If you're really into doom, which I'm not necessarily, but the fact of this object and the speed that it's moving at, the size and the speed that it's interstellar, and that these things come our way during something called the galactic cross, where the Earth crosses the galactic plane, and so different things happen. You run into more crap in space. Okay. So here's this. I'm scared. This is Hank Green. Hank Green is scared for the AMOC shutting down. I've done many videos about this. It's a thing. They've been tracking this for 150 years. They've been measuring the slowing for 150 years. The AMOC. It's been talked about in newspapers for at least 100 years. Believe it or not. Yellowstone volcano is rumbling and crumbling. Sunspots. He's MBB 3033. He also does sunspots. Big giant far side sunspot. And meanwhile, Trump is skimming. This is Rachel Maddow on MSNBC. Trump is skimming the nuclear safety fund, which is about $1 billion. Is it $1 billion? Something like that. It's a bunch. It's a shit ton. Yeah, nearly $1 billion for, and what it's for is for maintenance of nuclear missile silos. He's skimming that fund to upgrade the gift that he got, the plane from the UAE.
The plane was a gift from Qatar.
Vanity gift plane. So there's that, but there's more on that. This is Adam Conover. This is some crazy shit. HR1 adds 1.67 billion, 167 billion in funds for immigration enforcement. So this blue right here shows you that this is under $50 billion, but that's already. So the FBI gets this little skinny thing here. The Secret Service gets this little teeny slab here. The DEA gets a teenier slab. DOJ gets a smaller slab than that. These are little tiny other, I wonder what that is, things. That's in billions of dollars. That's 50 billion. So these are billion-ish a piece. What we were paying for immigration before was more already, was all of these put together plus more for immigration. So we were already spending a shit ton of money for immigration. Like $30 billion for immigration. Now, we're going to be spending $200 billion for immigration. $200 billion for cages. Alligator Alcatraz cage that they just built. And for officers to run those for-hire prisons, for-profit prisons and things. And so you're like, got to be scratching your head going, wow, what the hell's going on? I mean, is this just for the big takeover that some people are talking about, or is there something else we need to know about? So the climate change thing, people have been talking about for a long time that if we weren't not able to avoid the 1.5 Celsius rise in temperature, that was like a tipping point. If we hit that, then it was like game over, and that we would see the worst effects of climate change. Well, the Hunga Tonga eruption kind of handily did that for us because it raised the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere by 13%. So that's like a done deal. And so what's all this shit going on? I mean, the shit's hitting the fan big time everywhere. And I'm like, what do you need all those cages for? What do you need all those cages for? Unless, and with a tax cut, with a giant tax cut for all these billionaires, why are you doing a giant tax cut for all these billionaires? It's just kind of a head scratcher. Really? I mean, you really guys really want to do that? Big tax cut for all these billionaires while you're building $200 billion in cages to put people in because the shit is about to hit the fucking fan. Big time. So this is probably preparation for all of the chaos, the biblical chaos that's about to ensue that they know is going to happen because they perpetrated it. Oil companies and all those guys, all the people that played a part in the shit that's about to hit the fan, they want to have a little extra, they want to have some protection so that they don't get dragged out in the street. And, I mean, that's really what that is. The shit's about to hit the fan. There's probably going to be some wars. Maybe some nuclear weapons are going to get lobbed around. And so and he put this, the graphic, he's got this, turns this spike into a bloody, you can't see it. Anyway, you don't need to see that anyway. There's like blood on top of this. So that's that. Glad you came by for the doom scroll of the day. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, really. What are you going to worry about? But I mean, if you can spend so instead of spending $200 billion to avoid the worst effects of climate change, they're going to build $200 billion to make cages to put people in when that shit that they created hits the fan. So this level of assholery is biblical in scale. I mean, it's so far beyond the pale, P-A-L-E, that you can't see the P-A-I-L anymore. Pale. So far beyond the pale, you can't see the pale anymore. That's a comment that I left somewhere. You're not doomed. I mean, but just remember that, that's what this shit is for. Also, when population goes down, power shifts to the left, to labor. So the answer has always been, so as soon as I saw that and I understood that, I'm like, oh, set your watch, the fascists are coming, because Nazis are a bulwark against socialism. That's what the Nazis were in Germany, was a bulwark against socialism. Same shit today. And population is, I don't know if population is necessarily going down, but we're in the middle end of the silver tsunami, where the baby boomers die off, because that's a swell in population, and so when they die off, there aren't as many replacements. It's short term, and this is going to last for about 20 years, something like that, where there's a lull, where there's a labor crisis, and then it'll ease, maybe. But that's it. Other than doing, sensible things, sensible policies, it's just one big giant Interesting that they got the guy here who they got to lead the charge on this giant thing they're doing. So yeah, the shit's hitting the fan, and is it really going to be any better anywhere else? I don't know. This is a legitimate. So Conover not Adam Conover. This is Hank Green. Hank Green is saying that, well, this is decades. No, I'm sorry, dude. That is incorrect. The premise of The Day After Tomorrow, which he references, is that, and it's been shown in the geologic record, that those freezes, they come on fast. It doesn't take days, well, maybe days, but it doesn't take months or years or whatever. It happens like it comes like a thief in the night. It's a rapid onset glaciation. So, and this, the Younger Dryas, I'm not sure if, which is what he references here, 13,000 years ago. We'll see, because, just like there's so many things in play that you could have a form of that is either more or less extreme. Could be, less extreme. And, temperatures, rainfall amounts will change all over the world. They're already doing that. So anyway, don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Get yourself some communication equipment and, maybe some extra provisions. We could have the shit could hit the fan substantially for a while and then quiet down. Because, unless you ripped all the oxygen off the planet, we're probably, a lot of people are going to survive. And, we're not all assholes. We can have a cogent civilization. We do remember what, polite society is like. And that can be put back together or sustained. So I would just focus on that. And we don't have to put up with shit. Don't have to. The people can rise up and we can get rid of whoever we need to get rid of. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Communications, they have little handheld CB radios and, but more importantly, ham radios, handheld ham radios that are good just to be able to hear what's going on. There's that. There's all kinds of people that sell extra provisions and water and stuff like that. Nuclear war, they got, you can research that stuff, what you need to do about fallout. That's your biggest danger, fallout. And pretty much that just depends on what it is. 10 typically it's 3 to 5 days sequestered in your home in the middle of the house somewhere away from windows. So, whatever it is, it is. And we've been through worse. That's all I got. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.